Okay, just to finish up on the last video, sorry, I had like a 15-minute time limit, and that was kind of a big topic. So let me just finish up. This will be very, very short, very, very quick. We were talking about going from indentured servants to slavery. Most people in the South, most farms had either zero slaves or very few slaves, one or two. Most had none, truthfully. Now, the big ones, the big plantations had hundreds. So that's where a lot of the slavery came in, is just the big owners. The Chesapeake gentry is kind of what we call some of those big plantations. And there's a big difference between the people that came in 1607 and then started building up in the 1620s to get kind of big tracts of land, again with white indentured servants, versus what's known as the Chesapeake gentry that in the 1680s and 90s and 1700s came over and did that with African Americans. Now, the Chesapeake gentry generally weren't those first kind of rough and tumble people that came over. They were a little more wealthy, a little more privileged. They came over after the fact, where it's like, wow, tobacco, there's money to be made. They're a little more tactful, a little more tactical, a little more methodical in their movement. They owned these gigantic plantations with, again, like numerous slaves. They also managed money of other people. So people that had much smaller farms, they would help to sell crops, or they would rent out their slaves to other farms. So they would do other money-making endeavors. They also had lots and lots of political power. They owned a lot of they controlled a lot of the political interests. They controlled some of the spiritual interests within the churches, social interests. So they were seen as kind of the example. So a lot of those former indentured servants that had been made the middle class by the new gentry of the Chesapeake, were a little bit loyal to them. And both of those, so we get two things out of this. We get a new middle class, and we get these two groups that now all of a sudden are kind of pointing other venom on the new African American slaves that are over here in bigger numbers. So that becomes kind of a big deal. The gentry class has so much power that, for one reason, because a lot of the voting and things weren't private back in those days, you would just go and pledge, like, I vote for whatever, Carlson. And then you'd say, like, he's a swell guy and he whatever. Like, so there was a lot more out in the open, kind of what you're doing. So those people wanted to show their kind of, hey, you're helping me out, Mr. Carlson, with all your money. I'm a loyal follower. So that's kind of one of the ways this kind of continued. Okay, that's, again, I just had a couple minutes to wrap that up. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If not, we will be back soon.